Now, if I was Box, I would say, you remember you found me passed out in the car outside the Jacksonville restaurant? Yeah. Well, the same thing happened January 6th. Yeah, I woke up and there was insurrection. You know, I don't know. I was sleepwalking, sir. Hey, shout out to all of our subscribers and members here on the channel. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. And due to the flood of executive orders we have received from the incoming administration, I haven't even gotten an opportunity to address the release January 6th.
Breach of the Capitol! Breach of the Capitol!
Oh, here's some news. Accused Capitol rioter from Citrus County rearrested days after being pardoned by Donald Trump. You mean to tell me this man done got a get out of jail for free card? Literally a get out of jail for free card? And you back in jail already? Daniel Ball was accused of tossing a device into the entranceway of the Capitol during the January 6, 2021 riot. In May of 2023, the FBI charged him with 12 counts, including assaulting or impeding officers with a deadly or dangerous weapon. These must be the violent offenders that the Fraternal Order of Police mentioned in their opposition to this. Yes, the Fraternal Order of Police, who backed a felon for the White House and didn't expect him to engage in feloniousness. They thought he was rehabilitated, apparently.
There were easily hundreds of officers across the country attending this Fraternal Order of Police meeting. Trump's visit comes as the FOP just announced it will be endorsing him for the 2024 presidential election, calling him a partner and a leader, saying the organization stands with him as representatives from each state weighed in on this decision. Now, the FOP also endorsed Trump for president back in 2020.
According to a news release from the U.S. Department of Justice, Ball entered the Capitol at 3:29 through a Senate wing door. They said he pried a piece of wooden shutter from a window at the Senate connecting corridor before exiting the building. They said he joined others on the lower West Terrace on the nearly completed inaugural stage. Ball worked with other rioters to violently push against fully uniformed police officers attempting to keep individuals out of the Capitol. An arrest warrant shows that Ball is a felon with prior convictions for DV and a pretty aggressive form of DV in 2017 and resisting law enforcement with violence in October of 2021. So basically, he sandwiched January 6th in between January 6th-ish activity with those around him. That is a pretty consistent picture of a character I'm getting in my head. Court records show that Ball, who was not permitted to have a firearm due to his convictions, was indicted for being a felon in possession of a weapon in May of 2023. Now here's a lovely piece of irony. Because he was a felon, he wasn't allowed to have a firearm, which is why he was rearrested, but that would not apply to the device that was used on January 6th because of the blanket pardon. Yes, that is, Another one? Madeira man pardoned by Trump, rearrested for firearms violations. Another one. Benjamin Martin was convicted of firearms violations 3 months after being convicted in the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol breach in Washington, D.C. Maybe that's what it was. It was like a lad, because he knew he was probably going in, so this was like his last vacation. This was like his version of 25th Hour, starring Edward Norton. This is just how he wanted to spend that last little bit of freedom. Just pick up more cases. Judge Jennifer Thurston found Martin guilty in a one-day bench trial on September of 2024. Martin says the guns don't belong to him and were in his fiance's safe and belonged to her and her father. He says he was never in possession of them. Now, if I were the judge and I'm trying to decide whether they were Martin's or were they his fiance's or her father's, what I would have to ask is who was there on January 6th? That would be, that's like my first litmus test if I'm trying to decide who owned what. Who were you? Was one of y'all there January 6th? Yeah, because I smell a little insurrection on you.
Never have. Tried it one time.
I knew I had.
I tried it.
I smell a little crack in you.
I know an insurrectionist when I see one. Yeah, I smell a little insurrectionist on you. Thurston sentenced Martin to 38 months for which he was ordered to surrender. Well, maybe he just wanted to see if he can get those concurrent. You know, maybe that's, you can get him time served or something like that. I can imagine leaving jail. You got a new lease on life. You leave jail and then you just get rearrested and go back to jail. That's got to be, I can't imagine what's... January 6th rioter recently pardoned by Trump, eliminated by Indiana sheriff's deputy while resisting arrest. An Indiana man recently pardoned by President Donald Trump for storming the Capitol is gone after being shot by sheriff's deputy while allegedly resisting arrest. I appreciate the fact that they put allegedly in this article. I do. Yeah, that's good. Because normally they don't put allegedly in there, but when you put allegedly in there, it gives me like a mental image of the man. Y'all know what I mean. This all happened to Matthew Huttle of Hobart during a traffic stop near the Jasper-Pulaski County lines on Sunday afternoon. A deputy with the sheriff's department pulled Huttle's vehicle over on State Road at approximately 4:15. Indiana State Police said the stop led to the deputy attempting to arrest Huttle, but Huttle allegedly resisted and struggled with the officer. This altercation led to the deputy firing his gun, and that was the end of Huttle. According to state police, he was in possession of a firearm during the traffic stop. No additional details have been provided, however, about the altercation between Huttle and the deputy and what Huttle was being arrested for. Federal sources confirmed that Huttle was recently pardoned by Trump. He and his uncle Dale Huttle of Crown Point were arrested for taking part in the Capitol riots. Matthew Huttle ended up being tracked down and arrested in Boise, Idaho. The FBI said that Huttle was inside the Capitol for roughly 10 minutes, but remained on the Capitol grounds for several hours. I have no regrets. I will not say I'm sorry, Dale Huttle said about he and his nephew taking part in the riot. Normally they ask for some form of contrition before you get out of jail, but not on January 6th. And by the way, Boise, Idaho, it's more bad press for y'all. You know what I mean? Like if you ask me where he was apprehended, Idaho would have probably been in my top 5 guesses, just blind. And there you go. Both Huttles were spared from the full consequences of their sentences after Trump issued a pardon to all rioters. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, a key ally of the president and a lawmaker from South Carolina, spoke out against the pardons, as did many on both sides of the aisle. And yes, that is true. Lindsey Graham did have some thoughts.
Let's turn now to President Trump's decision to pardon, to give blanket pardons to everyone who was convicted of crimes on January 6th, including the 172 people who pleaded guilty to assaulting law enforcement officers. Even his own vice president said, quote, if you committed violence on that day, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned. Do you believe that President Trump was wrong to issue these blanket pardons to the January 6th
Number one,
defendants?
he had the legal authority to do it, but I fear that you will get more violence. Pardoning the people who went into the Capitol and beat up a police officer violently, I think was a mistake because it seems to suggest that's an okay thing to do. I think most Americans, if this continues, to see this as an abuse of the pardon power, that we'll revisit the pardon power of the president if this continues. But as to pardoning violent people who beat up cops, I think that's a mistake.
Well, I don't think we're going to be getting any statements on that particular case. Yeah, that is one case that we probably won't be hearing about anymore from the right wing. Huh? There's 2? January 6th rioter pardoned by Trump wanted for solicitation after allegedly exchanging multiple explicit messages. Thanks to President Donald Trump, and shout out to y'all for starting the article that way. Thanks to President Donald Trump, a Texas man who beat police officers with a metal whip and showered them with bear spray during the January 6th riot. Look at the law and crime website going hard in the paint. Okay, law and crime. I wasn't familiar with your game. No, I wasn't familiar with your game. I apologize. He had his more than 6-year prison sentence ended, but 36-year-old Andrew Taake, he should actually prefer that I mispronounce his name. You see where it is right there. He may be headed back to jail anyway. He made headlines at the time of his arrest because he was turned in by a woman he met on the dating app Bumble and for the violence he inflicted on cops. Last year, he was sentenced to 74 months in prison, followed by 36 months of supervised release, and was ordered to pay $2,000 in restitution. He was turned in by a woman he met on Bumble. Man. Yeah, if I was Tinder, I would use that. If I was Tinder, I'd be like, hey, free and clear. You know, free and clear. Last week, Trump wiped out that sentence with a full, complete, and unconditional pardon of Taake and his roughly 1,500 fellow rioters, but his freedom might be short-lived. At the time of the riot, he was on pretrial release for a 2016 charge of solicitation out of Harris County in Houston. Now that his federal case is over, state prosecutors have picked up the charge once again. According to the Houston Chronicle, he was soliciting a person he believed to be younger than 17. He was 27 at the time. He faces a decade in prison if convicted. His lawyer couldn't immediately be reached for comment. In May of 2016, he started talking on social media with an undercover cop posing as a 15-year-old girl, according to the sentencing memorandum, after allegedly sending multiple explicit messages to the girl he asked to meet up with her. He admitted he could go to jail for what he was doing. These are the masterminds that we put back out on the street. He said he could go to jail for what he was doing, and it was undercover. Yeah, I can see why you can't reach his attorney, because they don't exist. If anybody takes on that case, you should arrest them for theft right then and there. This is somebody who never should have been released in the first place. Huh? Sounds like Guy Reffitt. Who is Guy Reffitt? January 6th rioter freed after Trump's pardon, but authorities say he should still be in jail. High-profile January 6th rioter Guy Reffitt showed up in D.C. on Wednesday to celebrate with his wife and supporters who'd been hoping for his release from federal detention for months. But he shouldn't have been walking free even after Donald Trump pardoned him and more than 1,200 others. That's because Reffitt was indicted on a charge of possessing an illegal gun silencer 3 years ago. A federal judge in Texas ordered him to remain in jail until he's tried in that case, where he's pleaded not guilty. After Trump's pardon, his lawyer filed court papers to convince the judge to release him as he awaits trial. The judge hadn't yet decided whether to release Reffitt. Contacted late this week by CNN, even his own attorney and some federal authorities believe Reffitt was and should still be in custody. It is not clear where Reffitt is as of Friday. His wife, Nicole Reffitt, didn't respond to inquiries from CNN on Friday morning. I don't know where he is exactly. Why don't y'all check Boise though? Yeah, why don't y'all check Boise? So if I got this straight, this man was supposed to be in jail awaiting trial, picked up additional charges that he got thrown in jail for, and was released despite the fact that he was still supposed to be in jail awaiting trial. In other words, going to jail was his get out of jail card. I can tell you this, it's just a matter of time before somebody actually uses that for justification to get off. You know it's coming. Huh? It happened already? Ex-Special Forces soldier from Tampa among J6ers still in jail after pardon. Retired U.S. Army Special Forces Master Sergeant Jeremy Brown remains in jail while his attorney advocates for his release under President Donald Trump's pardon for January 6 crimes. Brown, a Tampa resident sentenced to 7 years on weapons charges, is among a handful of still incarcerated convicts who are most associated with the 2021 Capitol riot, but who were charged with other crimes outside of Washington. The argument being made for Brown's release, his other crimes only came to light through the course of January 6 investigations. So let me get this straight. So you wanna use the fact that they only found that out because they were investigating something that you were actually convicted for, okay? You want to use the fact that they were investigating something that you were actually convicted for as justification to get off on that charge. So what I'm getting is this is the hair of the dog justification for crime. In other words, the best way to get yourself either potentially released mistakenly or have questions called upon the evidence they got was more crime. You know what I mean? It's more crime. It's just like Christopher Walken. I got a fever.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Is more crime. A jury in 2022 convicted Brown on charges of possessing an unregistered sawed-off shotgun, a short-barreled rifle, fragmentation grenades, and a classified military document. I thought we were talking about like some dimes and nicks. You know what I mean? I thought we were talking. I didn't know he was ready to go soldier of fortune. Like, is this the dude from Contra? A sawed-off shotgun, a short-barreled rifle, fragmentation grenades, and a classified military document. Just in case you were wondering what his motivations might be. Federal agents said they found them on his Florida property while serving a search warrant related to January 6th and his ties to the Oath Keepers, a militaristic extremist group that entered the Capitol. Ah, yes, the Oath Keepers. Who can forget? Hey, Oath Keepers, I got something for y'all. You might want to look into this whole suspension of Civil Rights Division of Department of Justice with no recourse for people and their civil rights. You know, since y'all all about keeping oaths and don't tread on me and resisting, the weight of authorities and tyranny and all that kind of stuff. So that's something y'all probably be interested, huh? Oh, that's just for the blacks and browns. Okay, because that seemed like the kind of thing y'all would be into, but no. Okay, but then y'all always want to claim that the racism that we talk about is imagined, but here you are literally asserting that's exactly what it is. All right, just so we're clear. Brown was also charged with 2 misdemeanors for attending the January 6th riot, where he was photographed in a helmet and military gear. Those charges, court records show, were dropped shortly after the president's pardon. Other J6ers with similarly unclear pardon situations include Daniel Ball. Oh, y'all remember Daniel Ball. But wait, there's more. There's Dominic Box, who's awaiting sentencing for felony civil disorder, who remains in the same Kentucky jail as Brown. While awaiting trial for his January 6 charges, he was arrested by a deputy who said he found him passed out in his car outside a Jacksonville restaurant. Now, if I was Box, I would say, you remember you found me passed out in the car outside a Jacksonville restaurant? Yeah. Well, the same thing happened January 6th. Yeah, I woke up and there was insurrection. You know, I don't know. I was sleepwalking, sir. There is Ben Martin, a California man convicted of illegally possessing 8 firearms that agents found during the January 6th related search, who also remains in custody after his January 6 charges were pardoned. Calls for the release of these so-called left-behind J6ers have been amplified in right-wing media and spread through pro-MAGA corners of the internet since the president issues his pardons on the first day back in office. A common refrain, no man left behind. That is ironic. That sounds like the kind of thing that the military or law enforcement might say. You know, law enforcement, like the people who you allegedly support right wing. Also, let it not be forgotten that I have just laid out all of these individuals that either weren't supposed to be released or got released and immediately got themselves back into trouble or worse. And yet the refrain we hear from right wing is, you hear any regret? You hear any, you hear any questioning? No. No man left behind. They want more. I hope you're paying attention, Democrats. Now, as transparent and absurd as all of this is, the only thing that tempers any potential anger about the double standards at play here is the fact that it was telegraphed for so long. But one thing that I do want to holler at my black conservatives and my black MAGAs, just like us, right? Just like us. Yeah, these are all the breaks that we get. Yeah. All the stuff that just happens to us all the time, right? This was your man's. And no, I haven't forgotten about you, Fraternal Order of Police. Y'all can own this one as well. Congratulations, you played yourselves. But on the bright side, at least this new administration is doing everything they can to make our country safer. Yeah. They definitely are. I saw they said that with the deportation, but here, don't you feel better knowing that these, I feel, yeah. Sound like they rearresting somebody else. Hey, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video. First of all, thanks to an overwhelming response when I asked whether or not you guys would want to potentially move my weekly Tuesday 2 p.m. live tonight. You guys said you did. We tried it last week and it was amazing. So we're going to keep that going for the next week or two. So look for those Tuesday lives to be at night, probably 8 o'clock. There'll also be some members only lives as well. I tried that and lo and behold, I can just go live anytime. That is spectacular. So look for some members only lives as well as some polls on that side of things as well. I also have a brand new email for you that is admin@reesewaters.com. Just in case you want a quick response, you can email admin@reesewaters.com and I can pretty much guarantee it will be quicker. It will be quicker than the other one. We also have a bunch of merch ideas that you guys have sent in. Some of them are phenomenal. So we went and got some people to help us with the merch. So I'm really excited about some of the stuff that we have on the horizon. You can check all of that out at reesewaters.com. Also, shout out to the new subscribers and members here on the channel, as well as those that have been helping me out. That is Regina, who's been helping me out immensely with research, and our moderators, Mariana and Dank, as well as our head moderator, Miss Ray. I'm extremely grateful for you guys. A whole lot more to come.